the work I do is getting people to find out what they are under who they think they are. We think we're our profession, a doctor, a carpenter, a lawyer, whatever it is. We can think that we're a mother, we're a father, we're a brother, a sister. We're good at this, we're bad at that. We're tall, short, I'm this, that, the other. I look like this, I'm this age, I'm that age. What I show is what's under all of those concepts. They're all concepts, temporary concepts that continually shift and change. You're never the same, truly the same being second to second. So you may be a doctor today and tomorrow you're not. You're no longer a doctor. It moves. You die. You retire. Before, when you're a little baby, you're a little child, and you didn't understand English, or whatever your language is, if you're listening to this and understand them, English is one of them. Before you learnt all the languaging, you were already something, no? Before your first name penetrated into you and your parents and family and friends had said your name, enough these weird sounds that you didn't understand, you at some point you realise, oh, that's for me. Okay, what is it? So somehow I'm involved in that sound, that percussion sound and those vowel sounds. And slowly but surely, over time, oh, that's my name. And it's a great tool, isn't it? I can just give a name, Carl, John, Frank, and you know who I'm talking about, instead of the tall being with long blonde hair, the short being with black hair, the person that's 50. It works. But over time, we start getting identified with our name and what that represents. We get told good boy, bad boy, good girl, bad girl. And some boundaries are necessary also so people can interact and not just have constant chaos. But then we start getting identified with what's good and what's bad, our name. And then we want our teachers to like us, our kindergarten teacher like us, we want our parents to like us. We want the other people to like us. So then we start falling into the gaps of what works. And then we start setting up baskets of how we need to be and what we are. And then we attach all of these ideas and these concepts to our name. And then we call it our name what we are, and then our profession what we are, what year we're in at school what we are. And on it goes. But then we flip, at some point, we flip into believing this avatar. Let's call it an avatar. Like you have an avatar for the internet, a presentation for the internet, a handle. Then we start to believe an avatar of the body, of the mind, the body-mind avatar. But before all that, there was something that didn't know its name, didn't know its future, didn't care about its future, didn't think about its past, and lived. If you look at small children, the very small young children, other than their physical needs and pains in the bodies that make them cry, or their certain fears they may have, they're very happy and joyous. And because they can't go make themselves a sandwich, they'll cry to get one, or whatever food's coming. But outside of those things, these functions, there's joy there. And this is this natural state of humans. This is our natural state. That's why we're that way when we're born. Natural before we get identified with the labels and projections and future desires and dreams and what other people want us to be and what we think we're supposed to be. So this work is simply untangling the mess. And also in that mess is some incredible handy things. Mathematics is handy. Language is handy. Engineering is handy. I'm an engineer by trade. It's handy. It provides me income that I buy food with and build a shelter with. Wonderful. But when I'm gripping and it's my stuff that I have to achieve, this is the problem. This is the problem. It's a lack of understanding of who you are that creates this. And this avatar tries to force its way through the world, getting what it wants and controlling. And that might even be being super nice to everybody so everybody likes you. That might be giving to charities so people know how charitable you are. Like and this is not always the case, but quite often we can be doing things to get the avatar into a better position. This is more common than not. And as you play this game I'm talking about of higher consciousness, you start to see more and more games you've been playing without realizing it. See, so many people go, I don't need to do this, I'm fine. Yeah, but that's only because you haven't learned to see yet. You haven't even realized what's biological programming and cultural programming. It's just taken as reality, as granted. And what I'm saying is most of it, almost all of it, is not. There's a line in the Matrix that says everything, paraphrasing, everything you've been told is not true. And it's not far off. That line was a bit big for me when I heard it, but as I got deeper and deeper, I thought, oh, that line's pretty tight. And that's what they're in that movie. They're expressing that, aren't they? The Matrix, and what the Matrix is the thought. I've covered it in another one, in another live. But it's the same thing I'm saying. We've got to untangle. We don't have to. You choose to or not. You see what I'm saying makes sense, and you want to live authentically, or you want to live as an avatar, and that's fine. And billions of people are going to live as an avatar. That's how it works. Because if you're not an avatar, if nobody's believing this false persona, then a lot of the really hard jobs here don't get done. Because there's just certain things you're not going to do anymore. So it's actually perfect as it is. But a certain amount of people are going to that have reached a certain place will go, yeah, that makes sense. I think I would like to know what I am at my authentic self. And it's not as simple as going, what was I like as a baby? It's not that simple. But it is also incredibly simple because it's what you've been the whole time. And you've never not been it. There's just been a distraction of persona, a tangled web. And life can sometimes still be fun and great and have great times, but there's always the crash. It's like the stock market. There's always a crash. Your authentic self doesn't have that crash. And it doesn't get caught away with the big highs. It doesn't get all euphoric and crazy with the highs. It just stays in this beautiful tightrope of simplicity and beauty and love and joy. Because the background, which is what you are of everything, is completely still, silent, never moves. To the mind, extremely boring. Why would you want to do that? That's just a sign of an immature mind, and a mind not understanding or not able to understand. Because what it is ongoing joy and contentment and happiness and peace. Even if things are going wrong, the peace doesn't move. You're not attached to it all. Some people think, well, maybe you can't love from there. You become a zombie. No, it's the opposite. When you are living as a persona and loving from a persona, it can quite often be a tainted love. It's a transactional love. It's oh, well, I'm going to give this, but I want something back, and if I don't get it back, I'm not going to be happy. That's not love. That's not it. That's a transaction. So what you find as you play this game more and more and more and more is that you go, oh my goodness, almost everything I've done is a transaction, a subtle transaction for the flowering of a persona, which never ends in happiness, ever. It's not possible. And so, London's got antidepressant drugs in the groundwater. That much of it's being used from everybody. It's soaked into the groundwater as it's gone through people's systems. And all over the world, there's opiate epidemics, there's prescription drug epidemics, there's alcoholism. You know the game. It goes on and on and on and on. Why? Because everyone's trying to hold up a persona that just cannot be satisfied. It cannot find peace. So this is the way to find a temporary, cheap avoidance and perhaps a peace that's fraudulent. So this is actually the cure for everything. So that's when the Buddha would say, he said, to fix the world, you fix yourself. Because the outer world is a reflection of your inner. This is a big statement that we can go on for a long time with, but that's the truth. To really see that. So in a very, very quick, small nutshell, that's what we do here. That's what I do. And I'm blessed to have some people that are very interested in finding out what they are, and some are finding that. And that's a beautiful thing. There's nothing else for me to do here except to show people that, as far as I can tell. And everybody's got their thing. The beautiful thing behind you are your expression of that emptiness and that vastness and that beingness. All has a slightly different thing that's their magic that they share. It's not a universal zombiehood. Everyone's going to have a different angle of what their thing. This is my thing. There's no genericness here. It's coming into the fullness of what you are within duality and as the singular, the oneness. It's that interaction, perfectly integrated. A lot of people say they play this game. I'm nothing. I'm nobody. That's as far as you go. No, that's the beginning. That's emptiness. And by residing in emptiness and continue to deep, you discover the fullness also, and they integrate as one thing. So, not a lot of meditation here, but I'm probably getting low on time. Is that right? Yeah. So that was a very condensed nutshell. But what we do in our meetings, this is starting to sound like an infomercial. That's not what it's supposed to be. But what we do in our meetings is we go deeper into what I'm talking about here. We start taking the fraudulent identity that causes all our suffering apart. It's that simple. And when you find out what you are, if you go and study the ancient texts and all the rest of it, there's also an energy field that comes with that that's very powerful. And people that come to me that are empaths or very sensitive, energetic, and quite often people are really struggling in the world because they're sensitive and they don't know why they're struggling so much. It's simply because they're very sensitive. This organism we've been given, this spacesuit, is such a good sensory machine if it's built that way, and stuff that's been taken apart, you become a feeler. So a lot of people are really struggling in the world because they're feelers, and these are the introverts, the shy people. They're hiding away, and the world's very hard on them. Well, that's what most of the people here are like, and that's what I was like. Well, I'd been hurt a lot and made myself a lot bigger to get over it, to function in the world. So I was in very A-type environments, so I'd created a persona to deal with that. But at some point I realised that this wasn't true. And a lot of people are struggling, and they don't need to be. It's just a lack of understanding of how things work. And when they get it, it's like, oh, so people that come here that are that way, they feel me right away. They feel what I'm talking about, this space that's here. There's that space I'm talking about, that silent space, it can be felt and experienced. You know, it's been called all sorts of names, but we don't need to go there any further. But it's the commonality between all people that find this and reside in it. They have the same energy field, and it's universal. And it's been this way for thousands of years. It's not a different one. It may vary in potency is all. It's the only difference. Anyway, I'll leave it there. There's no meditation. But if you understand deeper, you would understand there was also a meditation here. Because meditation means silent, and my mind hasn't thought one thought in this whole conversation, just so you know. That is meditation. So it's not a matter of closing your eyes and breathing and going through all techniques. It's silence of the mind. And you can live in silence of mind and just pulling the calculator out we call mind that runs madness normally, and just use it and put it back down again, just like you do your phone after a phone call. And it's a beautiful way to live. It's my experience. I'm not from a book or from text. It's my direct experience, and I invite you to come play if you want to. It's a lot of fun. But anyway, my time is up.